Okay, the way I think of gacha games, and let me know your thoughts as well, right, you guys? I really like the idea of gacha games because you kind of like reallocate resources in the world. Like you think of it like, oh, freaking economics, right? In normal games, everyone pays the same amount. Your rich people spend the same amount of money playing Back with Wukong. Your less well-to-do, your students all play like the equivalent amount. Everyone pays like $80 to $100. Whereas a game like Wuthering Waves, it's kind of like the wealthier you are, the more you spend in a sense. So you take from, it's like a Robin Hood kind of system, right? Where the people who want to like spend a lot of money because they want to like have many eidolons, many game, those that can afford it also. The whales, basically, the people that are with a lot more money, they spend like thousands of dollars. And then these thousands of dollars basically is given to the people who don't spend any money. Maybe you're students, you're a young person, you just don't have money, maybe because out of a job or something like that, it's a downturn in the economy, your economy just not doing so well, especially like COVID, you don't have like tourism and stuff, maybe you're in the tourism sector, and then you get the game for free. So the rich people or the whales are paying for the free-to-play players, and that is like a much better structure than everyone paying the same amount. At least that's like, to me, like the benefit of gacha games. One of the biggest benefits is the cost, how everyone gets to like appreciate it. Of course, the downside is like it costs a lot of resources. Sometimes you get FOMO, and it does like maybe some people say like breed a gambling mindset. But I think resource planning, like 9, 10, 12 is saying, resource planning actually alleviates a lot of that. As long as you don't get FOMO, like new character, don't pull for every single character. You can play the game like Wuthering Waves is like you get the whole freaking map unlocked. You get hours and hours of playtime for free. It's only if you want to like get a little bit more premium version of every single character, the best comm and stuff. Otherwise, you can actually enjoy this entire game totally for free, which is a huge difference nowadays, and why I think one of the benefits about gacha game systems. And yeah, as long as it's not a grievous marketing. There are some gacha games that are much easier than others, especially those with like very bad monetization. The base game itself is like unplayable without spending money. Maybe they like paywall you and stuff. I don't want to like name names of certain ones of them, but there are a lot of gacha games out there that just like freaking paywall you into like spending more money. But overall, games like WoWa, I think it's like super friendly. I think it's like super free to play friendly. I'm playing a freaking free-to-play account and I'm enjoying myself, enjoying the content here so far. And that really speaks a lot. Of course, maybe as a free-to-play player, a new player as well, you can't clear every single content. But hey, give and take, right? Just give and take a little bit. I'm sure there are some free-to-play players that can clear also everything with time. But I'm not playing just free-to-play. I'm playing with no 5-star characters at all, other than Rover, of course. So it's a little bit trickier. Praying I get her. I hope so too. Hope so early, but I lost my 50-50 already in this game. And this is a free-to-play account, and losing now I understand how you guys feel, losing 50-50s as a free-to-play is really horrible, because that means that you get one limited character less. That's a little bit unfortunate. It's always the gacha games that you want to win the most that you end up losing. That's very unfortunate most of the time. At least that's for me. When I don't want to win the 50-50, I tend to win it. But when I really do want to win it, somehow I always lose it. I don't know. Some people told me that they will like quit if they lose too many 50-50s. Losing too many 50-50s is really so painful. Played Genshin for 3 years now and have only ever won 2 50-50s. Yikes. That is freaking crazy. Okay, I guess I can't really like relate to losing 50-50s until in Wuthering Waves. I mean, it sounds freaking like arrogant to say that, but then it's because it's a content creation. So I have to get everything anyway. But now after playing Wuthering Waves like free to play, I start to realize like the true pains of losing 50-50. So it helps me become a more understanding gamer as well. Because not everyone wins 50-50s. Whoever thought of this gacha system, I mean, the gacha system is actually quite good, right? You get to play games, AAA equivalent title games, totally for free. I think that in itself is a huge, massive W. Whereas if you play like Back with Wukong or something, you need to spend like $80, $100, depending on what version you buy. All games are great, of course. But it's whether you want the upfront cost or whether you want your costs staggered out. And at the end of the day, you can just like play gacha games and you don't even have to pay any money at all. So I think that's really nice. Locking gameplay changes and quality of life changes behind character copies. Okay, you have a point, Ryder. Like, I think that's a great point. If a game, an example of a gacha game that is unhealthy, or like you're better off doing the traditional model, is like gacha games that lock gameplay and quality of life behind like multiple copies of them, or forcing players to like get certain characters, or even worse, like buying the battle pass or something. They paywall content. Those I agree are empty, and the previous model of like just buying the game, you get everything unlocked is way better. But WoWa is not like that, right? At least for one thing for sure, WoWa is very, very good in terms of being very friendly to players. In more games, if it's like this, less egregious monetization, I can agree with that quite a bit. I do know on the top of my head, like some games with really, really bad monetization, which I stopped playing after a while. And I think you guys that follow our content, you guys also will know. I like gacha games because of what it does. If I was a young person again, I would have really liked gacha games during my time. Because back then, games you had to pay money. Like it's only like PlayStation games, your Game Boy. Back then it was like Game Boy games and stuff, which we had to like spend a lot of money. You had to buy the console in the first place, and then on top of that you had to like buy the freaking game. Some games I think like $30 to $70 in my home currency. The better games of course were a bit more expensive. You still had to spend a large amount on the console. I think like the Nintendo Wii in the past, I spent like close to $1,000 for the full set or something like that. If you don't spend that money, all you're playing is like snakes on your phone and like Space Invaders and stuff like that, right? But nowadays it's like as long as you have a mobile phone, you don't even need to like spend additional money for the mobile phone, because everyone has like a phone generally. Of course there are some people less well-to-do, less fortunate people who might not even have a phone, but a large portion of the world based on stats already has a mobile phone, and you can just like use their same tools to play games for free, gacha game style. Gacha games now got too big to the point that some game companies are either slot or gachas themselves. As in the entire game. Yeah, it is dominating a lot of the whole game space. You also have to make sure you will play the game for a long time, because it was one game for 6 months before you were able to get another. Yes, that's true. Koma is tired. Exactly, good point. Like if you were to play a game like in the past, like for example Kingdom Hearts, great games by the way, all these kind of like games, Monster Hunter when it first came out, you would spend like what, $60 to $100. You had to be sure that it was a great game, right? So you will read like reviews online, and then you have to like ask your friends, is it a good game, is it worth playing? And then there must be like some sort of reviews, guides out there. Then you decide, okay, I'm gonna spend money on this game, and you have to like do a lot of research. Nowadays it's like, oh, new gacha game is coming out, let's just like download it and try. As long as your phone has space, your only commodity now is like space on your phone, right? If you have space on your phone, you tap that and then you're more or less done. I guess that's why now gaming is like so much more popular rather than before. Genshin really did change the industry quite significantly, because it showed a lot of people that this model works, and also a lot of people adopted it as well. I mean, not to say it's the first in the space, there were a lot of other gacha games before, but Genshin is what made the whole space pop off. The Genshin one where you had to lose twice before you guarantee a weapon, yeah, that's kind of like, that's quite a bet. That's a kind of like crazy. But it's always easier to like be the second person coming into the space, right? After your market leader goes in, then you just basically see what the community doesn't like, and then you just adjust accordingly. And you just like make tweaks. So it's always easier being like number 2, because you can just adjust from what number 1 mistakes made. It's harder to always be the first person. So credit to where Genshin deserves it. But of course, WoWa made a fabulous game as well. Everything has pros and cons, I guess.